Yo, I feel like Shane Gillis is the crypto lefty. I feel like Shane Gillis is probably at the very least a social democrat. Shane Gillis is probably more left leaning than the corporate Democrats right now. He's probably more left leaning than almost all of the sitting members of Congress. If I had to guess, he's hiding his power level because he knows there's a lot of MAGA right wing fans in the comedy space. And I say this because, man, he be going off. And he has moments like this. Like, check this out. This is the roast of Kevin Hart. And Shane goes after Chelsea Handler in the most brilliant way.
Chelsea is a Zionist. I'm not saying that's good or bad. Speaking of dead kids, she's a big fan of abortions. Chelsea's been straight more times than the grill at Benihana. Speaking of tossing tiny shrimp into a child's mouth, Chelsea Handler went to dinner at Jeffrey Epstein's house in 2010. Just a fun one. You can look it up. There's articles. It wasn't like a big party. There was like 7 people there. And it was like Prince Andrew and Woody Allen were there. Chelsea is a Zionist. I'm not saying that.
Oh my God, so good. And then remember when Shane Gillis was earlier this year when all of those comedians were getting absolutely dragged because they're like, oh yeah, let's go perform for freaking Saudi Arabia. Yeah, the freest place on the planet. And they're like, this place is great freedom of speech. They let us say whatever we want. Yeah, okay. And Shane Gillis was like, yeah, I'm not going there. Out of principle, I'm not doing that. I'm not performing for these freaking people that did 9/11 and have slaves. Like, what are we talking about? Shane Gillis is way more based than all of these Rogan Sphere comics.
What was that like, being in the Oval Office?
Pretty strange. The whole thing was strange. How about sending him a text message, explaining everything to him, and him saying, let's do it.
Whoa.
Dude, let's do it. And then the next
I think
day,
that's his problem.
sees
He
me.
keeps saying, yeah, let's do it. He's getting text from BB. He goes, yeah, it.
Yeah.
Maybe next time we schmooze him into free healthcare.
Maybe next time we schmooze him into a Protect Our Parks.
Yeah, we
You guys
got
are dropping in here.
brother. Let's do free healthcare.
Come on, dog.
Alright, so it looks like Joe Rogan's insane Trump glaze is being subtly called out by Joe Rogan's closest comedy pals. Like on the most recent Protect Our Parks, whenever Rogan would start up the propaganda machine, Shane immediately voiced his thoughts and criticisms about Trump and the current state of the country. And just last week, Tim Dillon made an entire sketch mocking Ibogaine on his podcast, which is hilariously enough one of the only podcasts that Rogan listens to every week without fail. And of course, these aren't like direct confrontational callouts or anything like that, but his friends are obviously much more talented than Joe Rogan when it comes to comedy. And they know that it's actually considered hack to make your material full of pro-Trump stuff, like Joe Rogan and Tony Hinchcliffe are doing nowadays. They also probably witnessed how Joe treated Theo Vaughn on the JRE episode he did with him about a month ago too. So they're most likely aware of how lost in the sauce Joe Rogan is with Donald Trump now, and they're deliberately choosing not to play along with it. Like in this most recent Protect Our Parks episode, Joe Rogan would constantly try to bring up how savage and hilarious he thinks Donald Trump is, and every time he did this, the room would just go completely flat. Like Joe just bombs constantly in this episode.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I was at the airport in Philly, and an ICE agent was like, yo, my man, what's up? And I was like, yo, chill. Don't ask me for a picture.
Do you see that Trump renamed it instead of ICE? Now it's nice.
I saw that.
It's nice now instead of ICE.
So now you're protesting nice.
It's national. Immigrations, customs, enforcement.
He's done it again.
That reminds me.
What a moron. Joe thinks everything's funny. All I did was add an N in front of it, and he's laughing. He thinks it's so funny, because he's a moron.
Our leader.
That's funny.
He's a wild boy.
Still funny.
It is funny, calling it nice.
So funny.
Is your thing about to go off? Is that where you're stopping
I
it?
just realized I left my kid in a Somali daycare. I gotta go pick him up.
So these Rogan Sphere comics are obviously pulling back from the Trump train and leaving Rogan there all by himself, especially Shane Gillis. I mean, Mark Normand and Ari Shaffir were sort of just happy to be there, but it felt as if Shane Gillis was just speaking his mind in this episode without the fear of consequence from the podcast king himself, which is actually a nice part about Shane Gillis living in Austin and being a regular at the Mothership, because at this point in his career, he's obviously way bigger than anything Rogan related, so he simply doesn't need Joe Rogan at all. Like, if anything, Rogan desperately needs Shane, you know? So, as you'll see shortly here, when Joe Rogan starts bragging about the ibogaine approval he did with Donald Trump in the White House, without even acknowledging it, Shane Gillis just butts in
his
and
head
asks
just floating
Rogan
over
why
the
they
chair.
can't get free healthcare, which is
so
pretty funny
embarrassing.
because Donald Trump
I brought you to the White House just to embarrass you,
as he
Joe.
views it as socialist,
Like a good
unaffordable,
little
and
boy.
destructive to quality medical care. So, being that Rogan is completely and utterly compromised, this just put him in sort of a bind.
There we go.
It's a wild time to be alive, kids.
It's wild.
But at least we're going to have drugs soon.
That's pretty nice.
Well, at least all those people that are hooked on pills are going to get off of them. A lot of them are, at least. It's going to at least give them something that works.
How are they going to get it?
How come we can't get free healthcare?
Yeah, right?
Why don't
What
we
the
do
hell?
that?
I'm paying out the
Yeah.
ass.
Why can't we do that?
I bet if they took all the money from fraud, it would pay for health care 10 times
Or
over.
Ukraine or Israel.
Oh, yeah.
Why
Yeah.
not?
Right.
All right, see, I don't agree with Shane on the whole Ukraine thing. I mean, Ukraine is being invaded by Russian imperialists. And I don't know what happened to American Russia. Because they're Russia. And they're doing evil things. Like invading another country. Trying to rebuild the Russian Empire. Like, I don't know, man.
Well, that's what's annoying. All these politics are like, if we get this
Afghanistan,
much money, we can
Iraq,
cure this.
Yemen.
I'm
So
like,
let me
you
ask you
have all
this.
this money. What are you
Somalia.
doing?
I think 100% free healthcare would be an awesome thing. But you also want doctors to be incentivized to be really good at their jobs.
For sure, but
so
also,
you want, like,
Right.
What a dumb thing to say. What a dumb thing to say, considering every other industrialized country has a national healthcare system. They have universal healthcare. So are you telling me that it doesn't work in their system and our system actually works better, even though Americans pay twice as much per capita? We receive less than half as much coverage? It sounds like a pretty dumb system, bro.
They're not
Dr.
now.
Gettleman,
Well, why
the guy
can't-
that did your knee and did
Yeah.
my knee, he's a
Private.
bad.
No,
why
bad
can't we
mother-
have? Why
Right.
can't we have universal healthcare and private doctors?
Yes,
Yeah.
we should be able to have both of those things.
Like
yes.
public school and private
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
The most satisfying part about this topic of conversation, though, was when they put it into the AI sponsor of Joe's show, Perplexity, which Rogan seems to rely on way too heavily nowadays. Like, it honestly seems like Perplexity is going to replace Jamie eventually here. So ironically enough, when they put in what free healthcare would look like in the United States, Perplexity actually farts out this huge article about how free healthcare would literally cut total costs in half, which makes Joe Rogan all of a sudden skeptical of AI.
Universal healthcare system in America would cost approximately 3.0 to 3.2 trillion annually. Oh,
That's a lot.
Which is actually less than the current system that costs around 5.3 trillion per year. So you're talking about a savings of almost 50%.
Like Joe read that part, he's like, I'm just gonna go with this, and then Ari's like, no, let's finish reading it. Let's finish reading it. And this is funny because it reminds me of the Mercatus Center research that came out, right? Mercatus Institute, funded by the Koch brothers, the fossil fuel right-wing billionaires, for George Mason University, and they try to do research about how actually Medicare for all would suck, but we actually found out that it would save us money. Like, this is from a right-wing think tank. Like,
Why
God.
don't we get free healthcare?
So
Yeah.
savings of $450 billion annually while providing coverage to all Americans, according to Perplexity, our AI sponsor, which is never wrong.
And of course, just like Rogan did with Theo when Theo started exposing everything wrong with Joe's alleged handlers, Joe immediately switches topics with Shane when Perplexity puts out this information, which then makes Shane double down with his support for free healthcare, which is pretty funny because the conversation wouldn't have gotten so political so quickly if Rogan hadn't gone there himself. Like, this whole thing actually came after 20 minutes or so of Rogan going on his usual propaganda-laced rant that features a lot of right-leaning talking points. So Rogan really put this on himself here.
That was one thing he was trying to do.
It kind of blows. It's embarrassing.
All right, let's put it this.
Right?
How much would it cost if school, like higher education, was free?
Oh, there's too much money in that. They won't do it.
Well, that's the same exact thing with healthcare.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the reason why we should make it illegal. Yeah, we should decommodify it. Not be able to make money off of it. Yeah. They should not be able to make money off of healthcare because we all need healthcare. They should not be able to make money off of charging us up the wazoo for college education. Yeah, think about it. Publicly funded things, nice things that we could do with our tax dollars. Instead of giving it to the rich corpos so they could buy their 6th yacht or whatever.
Yeah. It's
They make a fortune.
subsidized.
We're making
That's
too
where we're
much,
at
so
as a country. It's all.
And it's
I mean,
gone
it's the
up.
same reason we're doing wars.
Yeah.
Money?
just to make money.
Of course.
The
There's
oil?
nothing else. Not even just oil, but defense contracts. They need.
They're raking it in.
That Zelensky's a mooch. He just keeps wanting more.
I don't think it's.
100%.
Bro, see such a right-wing thing. They always bring up Ukraine. It's like, what, dude? Stop bringing up Ukraine that's being invaded by fascists, bro. Bring up Israel. Bring up the elephant in the room. Bring up the country that we all want to talk about. Bring up Israel. Why did you want to bring up Israel? Were you on Epstein parties too, bro? Little sus.
Oh, you think it's his?
No, I think it's
Adesanya?
us. It's us.
It's us.
It was us.
the U.S.
It's money, but it's all together. It's all a
188
big,
billion.
big scam, Ponzi scheme.
Damn.
Everybody's making money.
You should get Trump on here.
We're doing great. Don't let anybody lie to you.
Yeah. maybe next time we schmooze them into free healthcare.
Maybe next time we schmooze them into a protect our parks.
Yeah, we got
Imagine Trump being in.
That's funny because he's actively destroying our parks and he's actively allowing big oil in other countries to extract resources from America's national parks. Yeah. Isn't that fun? Let's destroy the environment. Let's destroy our parks. Let's destroy nature. So corpos can make more money. Yay! Making America great again, folks. Making America great again. Gotta love it.
Let's do free healthcare.
Come on, dog.
So as soon as Joe wants to get all serious and political, everyone needs to stop and listen. But right when Shane goes into this spiel about free healthcare and how everything in America is corrupt, then all of a sudden Joe wants to get silly and start cracking jokes, which is just so annoying for everyone around Joe. But obviously, this is how Rogan operates. Not just on his show, but in life in general. Like, he always needs to be in control of the narrative around him. So much so that he really never does anyone else's podcasts, and he doesn't even perform comedy outside of the Mothership.
You're
now.
out of your element,
Like, he's
Donnie.
built a
You're out of your
really
element.
solid echo chamber over there in Austin. And now it's been so long that he's deeply terrified of leaving its orbit. So anyways, after Shane clearly takes a stance against the administration here, Joe proceeds to do some heavy damage control by stating that all presidents are evil, which I guess immediately forgives Trump of all his wrongdoing. But the best part about that is that Shane just goes directly back into how terrible the healthcare system is in America, and how nothing's really being done about it, which was just awesome to hear.
Sit
You're
on my
not
lap,
going to get all
Joe.
good.
Eat some ice
You know?
cream.
You're not going to get all good with any president either. You know,
Right.
like,
Sure.
you're going to get a lot of bad shit because all these people are surrounded by
mostly bad.
demons. They're surrounded by war hawks and demons and defense contractors and scam artists in the pharmaceutical industry. There's all these fucking people that are trying to make sure that they can make the most amount of money possible. Just all
Sounds like you were
snorting demons.
describing Trump to the T.
I was watching this documentary on the homeless here in Austin, and they're talking about how like I was on schizophrenia medicine, I can't afford it anymore. And they're out there just sprinting
What
around.
happens if you take
Damn.
schizophrenia medicine and you don't have schizophrenia? You know?
Yeah, the healthcare thing is really embarrassing, to be honest.
Let's get
It's
some
really
mental
embarrassing.
institutions and some free healthcare for these fellas
Yeah,
outside.
asylums.
Yeah,
I don't know
Back.
how to. I don't know how to. Obviously, no one knows how
Yeah,
to
we
fix
don't
it.
know how to
We got to
do
do
it.
something.
A
'cause it's-
giant percentage of those people are addicted to drugs, right?
Yeah.
A giant
Oh,
percent
yeah.
fentanyl zombies. You need ibogaine for all those people, mental health facilities. You need to get them on whatever.
So it sounds like Joe supports universal healthcare. He supports increased funding to mental health care. Does that sound right? It sounds like Joe might be advocating for more public housing. Is that right, Joe? Of course not, dude. Of course not. Joe's class interests do not align with ours. He is a friend of the Epstein billionaire class. That's why he has Peter Thiel, all these Epstein billionaire people in his orbit on his show. And he doesn't press them. He doesn't ask them hard questions. He's just glug, 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 slurp, slurp, slurp. Every freaking time. Because he's a smooth brain. He's smooth brained.
For medication to fix
Smooth
their
brain
schizophrenia.
And it's not even like a fucking goodwill thing. It's also like we need to
Gonna
clean
break
like
into their cars.
selfishly.
Safety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's for everybody. So what are we doing? Why? Whatever.
Skid
I
Row
agree.
in
What's
Los
the fucking hold up?
Skid Row in Los Angeles is 50 blocks.
50 blocks.
50.
When last time I looked, it said Americans pay more than 2 times the next country for healthcare, and we get the 17th best coverage.
Well, we're
And-
so
and
fat,
we're the
too.
sickest.
We're the sickest.
It's
Yeah.
a
It's
scam,
not- spend the
folks.
most money,
I was
and
just
we're
in
It's a
Toronto.
scam.
It was clean.
Yeah, you just go right to a doctor.
Right.
you
Even
can
just
see.
driving around, I was like, this is crazy. How are we getting? Why is America dog?
I know. And our shit is locked up at the CVS.
Yeah.
They don't have that. Everybody's just
Yeah.
stealing.
Well, there's a lot of stealing.
So yeah, Shane clearly wasn't playing around with Rogan this episode. And for a good portion, it got into this serious political conversation, as you just saw. Because it's like, Rogan has clearly shown that he has some sway in the government. I mean, he got that approval for Ibogaine literally overnight. So why doesn't he push Trump to do other things that might benefit more Americans than just Ibogaine? It just seems like Rogan is pretty picky-choosy with what he talks to Trump about. I mean, he was on this podcast complaining about how no one from the Epstein files have been arrested and whatnot, and how nothing's really happened since all that was released. But he was literally in the Oval Office the other day and clearly has Trump's number on speed dial. So
Yo.
it was pretty annoying to hear him play dumb and act like he can't go to the root of evil himself and ask him these very things.
That whole Epstein thing is so crazy. That no
It's-
one's gone to
it's-
jail for
it's
that.
pretty surprising that they're
Here's
still not
what's crazy.
releasing it.
Here's
It's
what's
so crazy.
No
It's like the people in charge are not releasing the files like they said they would when they campaigned on it. That's crazy. It's almost like Trump's Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick used to live right next to Jeffrey Epstein and lied about the amount of times that they've hung out, and also when was the last time they've hung out. Crazy. Well, nothing to see here, folks.
Press. No one's like being brought in. Meanwhile, Comey is getting arrested for a photo of seashells that say
yes.
8647.
He's getting arrested for that.
What's
he's getting
86?
charged.
What's 8647?
86, get rid of. President 47.
But you could say kill.
Thankfully, though, Shane Gillis might be one of the only people on Earth that can speak their mind around Rogan and not get any pissiness from Rogan as a result. Because again, Rogan desperately needs Shane Gillis for the Mothership. Like, that was a huge steal of Rogan to even get Shane to move to Austin. So Shane knows his position and knows he won't get any pushback from Rogan. I mean, in this Protect Our Parks episode, Shane even mentioned how the Mothership crowd is full of people just itching to hear racist jokes, which Rogan in the past has been completely offended by when other comics say this sort of thing. But being that it was Shane, Rogan had no choice but to just fake laugh it off.
There's just a couple jokes that I'm like, I know they're funny, but it's like, man, that's gonna be tough to tell publicly.
They're
You
dark. They're dark.
you had a couple jokes in there that were like, you can hear the reaction of like laughter or like, oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a fucking Mothership crowd.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a bunch of people that are like, I paid good money to see somebody be racist tonight.
And they're like, bro, calm down.
You say something racist.
Yeah, the black jokes go hard.
The black jokes go
I
hard.
do.
So really only Shane Gillis can pull that off in front of Rogan's face. Because again, Rogan hates this narrative that the Mothership is a far-right cesspool of people who just want to hear anti-trans, racially motivated jokes and everything like that. Like if Mark Maron said this, Rogan would obviously be heated. But Gillis gets the pass here because Rogan knows he's cooked without Shane's
Rogan's
pull.
comedy
So whenever Joe
club, and he
Rogan
puts
gets
his
a taste of
picture up on the
reality,
wall
it always
next
results
to
in Rogan being caught off guard.
the
and
comedy
it's just
hall
hilarious to
fame
witness
grades,
in real
like, oh,
time.
man.
Because Joe
So
is
funny.
super protected in this bubble he's created for himself.
Funnier
in
than
Austin.
any joke
And
I've
believe
heard
it or
from
not, he's
Rogan.
actually in a smaller bubble in the bubble that is the Mothership. Like when they were talking about the green room hang in this podcast, Rogan and his comedy rat pack insufferably mention how they never want to go into Mitzi's bar during normal hours because there's too many normies in there, saying that they prefer to stay in the secret green room until everyone in Mitzi's bar leaves. Like that's how much Rogan is scared of the masses nowadays. Truly.
It's the hangout afterwards. I had so many memories of us like some town and just going to anybody in the street. Like, is there a place to eat around here? Like, I don't know, is it Fogo de Chao? I was like, what?
Yeah.
Well, all you need is us. Like in a green room, sometimes I'm like, I don't even want to go to the bar. This is the best.
It's the hang. The hang's everything.
Yeah, at the mothership, it's like whenever it was like we're going under Mitzi's, I'm like, yeah, this is a great.
This
hang
is
right
great.
here. We got liquor.
We got
stay right
the
here.
elites.
Yeah, but Mitzi's once it clears out is perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, once the regular people are out. Yeah.
Yeah, once the crowd leaves.
Well, that's the
once
cool
the
thing about
peasants
Missy's.
are
It
gone.
becomes a private club after
Yeah.
11
Yeah.
p.m.
Once I can
So
slurp slurp
Rogan's just
Donald Trump
completely out of
publicly, once
touch
I
with
can
reality
glaze
nowadays.
him
So it's nice whenever one of his pals
no ends
unexpectedly leads him
publicly.
towards the light like this. But don't get me wrong, it's not like Shane Gillis and Joe Rogan. What we're really seeing is a shift in tone with these comics in the Rogan sphere, who at one point in time were right there with Rogan when he was glazing the hell out of Donald Trump's buns. And remember, these are professional comedians, so their pushback is through jokes, sarcasm, and just refusing to play into Rogan's game. So nowadays, when Joe leans into the Trump stuff, the room doesn't really follow him anymore, which we saw in the beginning when Joe brought up how Trump's changing ice to nice.
It's nice now instead of ice.
So now you're protesting nice.
It's national. Immigrations, customs, enforcement.
He's done it again.
that reminds me.
Yeah, brilliant.
Man, our leader.
That's funny.
He's a wild boy.
Dude's
Like he really
brain
thought everyone would
felt
just
like a
burst out
child's
cackling,
brain.
but instead the
goodness.
room immediately fell quiet.
Embarrassing.
Because the Trump stuff's just not funny anymore to people who aren't compromised like Joseph. So guys like Shane Gillis and Tim Dillon are comfortable enough in their own careers to let that tension sit there instead of smoothing it over. But anyways guys, that is it for the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, thanks so much for watching.
What an awesome video from American Redact. Thank you, American Redact. Everyone go sub to him if you haven't already. I'm subbed to him on my main channel, on my personal channel, not on this channel. But yeah, Joe Rogan is embarrassing, man. Absolutely embarrassing.
There we go.
Wanting to talk about topics on his show that he doesn't know diddly squat about. Just parroting right-wing billionaire talking points. Just carrying the water for the fascist Republican Party. Absolutely pathetic. And once again, folks, he is showing his true colors every time he opens his mouth that he is not a friend of people that have to work for a living. He is a friend of the Epstein billionaire class, and he probably gets invited to the parties because it seems like someone that gets invited to the parties, but he doesn't want to speak publicly about it. Anyways, democratize enterprise, and as always, take care.